All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. Thank you so much for joining me today and every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on our G.A.R Capital YouTube. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen, little white logo. Click on that. Turn notifications, like our videos, comment your questions, subscribe to our channel. Appreciate you as always. Let's go ahead and talk about the market, shall we? Dow futures are up 337 points after yesterday's fall. NASDAQ nearly up 200 points. Was a lot higher earlier in the day. S&P futures up 1.26%. Russell 2000 futures up 2.6%. Nice bounce. Crude oil is up 2.33%, 67.71 a barrel. Gold is up nearly 1%, 1791. Well, 0.83%. Silver futures up 0.11%, 2283. Yields climbing 35 basis points at 1.478. The dollar index is down 0.16%, 95.84. The VIX is down 12.76% at 23.72. The euro dollar is flat, 113.38. 113.11, down 5 pips for the dollar yen. Ethereum is now near all-time highs. I have a spot price of 46.63. The futures price is 47.33. The all-time high for Ethereum is 48.67 on the spot. For Ethereum on the futures side, the all-time high is 49.02. So you can see we're getting very close to all-time highs on Ethereum. So keep that in focus, obviously. Bitcoin on the future side is at 58,220. Looking at my crypto portfolio, I am slightly down today, 0.60% with my portfolio on crypto, but a nice bounce all around. Ethereum is definitely doing the heavy lifting, so that's nice to see. Okay, so let's take a look at some news this morning. We also had ADP, which is the private payrolls. I put a post, I believe this weekend, regarding the upcoming news and events, economic events. Yesterday, Powell was speaking. He said, remove the word transitory from the inflation thing. Markets fell, and that was all she wrote. Apple was the big gainer yesterday. We'll take a look at some pre-market movers. First, let's take a look at the ADP numbers. This is the the private payrolls that were added. Let me go ahead and move this over. ADP change up 534,000 jobs versus the 525,000 jobs estimated. Large businesses gained 277,000 versus 342,000 month over month. Service providing sector 424,000 jobs versus 458,000 jobs. Construction 52,000 versus 54,000 month over month, and manufacturing 50,000 versus 53,000. Keep in mind, these are private payrolls, meaning there's no government jobs there. Non-farm payroll report on Friday should give us the correct number. Again, it's a flash number. Sometimes they do check it next month, and they do revisions. OPEC not discussing changes to output policy for now in closed door meetings. OPEC Reuters citing a delegate. So there you go. Pre-market movers. Let's check it out right here. I can get this going. All right, so pre-market movers. NIO is up 3.19% this morning. Apple up another 1.5%. There's a lot of volume on Apple. We talked about Apple yesterday. We talked about AMD as well. So again, those two hit. Well done. If you were watching the Twitter, I talked about Apple when it was up 1%. So be smart. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Keep in mind, guys, the Instagram page, you're not going to get that much detailed information, like in terms of real time, the way Twitter does. So again, if you're all about the news, you need to follow us on Twitter and turn on notifications. But again, Instagram is cool for more visual, but for news and detailed analysis and stuff like that, your best bet is really Twitter. Disney's up 1.34% today. Salesforce reported earnings yesterday. They're down 4.9. Microsoft's up 1.38. Boeing's up nearly 2%. JP Morgan nearly 1.44%. The S&P, Pfizer's down 0.73. AMD up 1.38%. We caught that yesterday. Tesla up 1.5%. I was looking at those 1,200 calls, but they're a little pricey for a signal. Carnival's up 3%. American Airlines up 1.7%. Merck is up 0.45%. And on the NASDAQ, NVIDIA is up 1.8%. Meta Platforms, Facebook, 1.38%, and JD.com up 3.67%. That's where we are this morning. Let me go and close this. Awesome. Okay, let's take a look at some charts, and then I'll answer some questions real quick. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple may be worth a shot at the 170s for this week, but we need to get above 168. If we can get above where are we at now? 167. Let's call it 168.25 and a quarter. So if we get above 168.25, I like the 170 calls for this week on Apple. So let's keep an eye on that. I also have lucid calls, the 60 calls, tons of volume. I'm in those. AMD, again, kind of bouncing. We knocked that out yesterday. NVIDIA is looking very nice for the possible 340 calls. So again, it's up about $6 pre-market. If you break 335.93, I think the 340s are worth a shot. So again, my real focus today in terms of individual names to trade, NVIDIA and Apple. Those are the ones I like. Taking a look at E-mini futures here, you can see a nice bounce. We did break support, so the team also did SPY puts. We're up today, but again, I think with higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows, we could be getting a little more downside here. Remember, it's the first of the month, so again, we got to see how we go. But in terms of that, that's a pretty good hedge right now, just in case we get a little more, transitory action or non-farm payroll becomes less than expected. Just a heads up. Good morning. SOMAD futures are up. What happened about yesterday? Yeah, yesterday markets were down because of Powell speaking. Good morning, Carlos. Thoughts on Roblox? I own Roblox. I'm very happy that I own Roblox. It had a great month of November. I think you still hold it long term. I'm with it. In terms of calls, the 140s are decent if you break 135. I wouldn't do it here. I'm bullish on oil. I am still bullish on oil. Absolutely. I think demand will still pick up by January, and I think oil will bounce and get to 100. Obviously not by January, but again, as we start getting back to the reopening and the recovery globally, and again, we're still in that recovery cycle. Obviously, the new variant, but the issue is that crude oil still has some ways to go. That's 67.93 a barrel. It's basically right below the 200-day. Last time we tested that was in August, and we bounced back. So again, we broke it this time. We haven't really tested the 200-day on crude oil since August. But again, you could probably be saying that a lot of people were very long. We opened the reserves in terms of the strategic reserves. That put a little pressure on oil, but I like oil long term. That's why I don't own calls on it. I just own XOP. Microsoft, I do like. I have a trade with the students on Microsoft Masterclass. I have the 340 calls. I'm still holding those. But again, we should be able to get that with the students today. But again, needs to get above 337.67. If that happens, then the 340s would be a nice one to get in. But I'm already in it with the Masterclass members, but I'm red on it. So currently, but that should be green today, either way. But that's where we are. I mean, again, it's a lot of chop action. A lot you're seeing is selling the rip and buying the dip. Keep in mind, November was great. The last day of November, you have some rebalancing too. Keep in mind. So again, it was a little bit of a sell-off. We're getting a bounce today. The question is, does it hold? That's really the question. Do we hold? For me to say that we're out of this little funk that we're in, 46.69 on the S&P, on the 1 hour chart on E-mini futures would show us that we're out of the funk. 46.69. I'm still in contention that we'll hit all-time highs by the end of the year, 47.40. My target is 4,800 on the S&P futures. I think we get it by the end of the year. So keep in mind, we're on the first of the month. All the way to the 19th is where you want to start, where you want to trade. After that is where it really slows down. So keep that in the back of your head. Don't try to push the envelope a little too much. Let's take a look at Facebook. Facebook doesn't look that great if you're looking for calls, but for puts, if it breaks below 325.87, I like puts on Facebook, but not for calls. No, you'd have to get to 340. Market seems pretty resilient. Stay bullish. Absolutely, I am bullish and resilient. We have a lot of good news. I think a lot of people are still stuck in the bad news and the inflation. And okay, I don't hear a lot about gas prices now. That fuel is going down. I don't hear that a lot now. Inflation, yes, we know that we'll get another reading of CPI and PPI this month, sure. But other than that, finally, Fed Chair Powell saying it's not transitory. I have no idea why people put so much emphasis on a word. I don't know why that is. But again, people want the world to end anyway, so they're hanging their hat on anything. It's just a word. I don't know why you would sell that news when to move the market 800 Dow points because he says yeah, we're not going to use transitory anymore. I mean, okay. And they're going to accelerate tapering. We knew that was going to happen. So I think it was an opportunity to look at some stocks that you want to buy. Nothing really hit my levels to buy yet. In terms, again, I want a kind of nice dip. You know, a correction would be nice. Not all dips are created equal. I mean, look at Apple. Apple hit all-time highs yesterday. What can you do? And I love Apple. Bad news sells. That's so true. I mean, I've said that. You know, bad news is what gets clicks. You know, saying that, you know, hey, life is nice, enjoy your day, is not going to get a click because no one cares about that. They want the world to end. Good morning, Carlos. Calls for SPY tanks. I have no idea. Is it thanks you're saying or tanks? Thoughts on BABA? Let's take. Is Melly a buy now? I don't like Melly. I researched it. I don't want to own it. It's really up to you if you want to own it. But I'd have to do a little more research on it. But from what I read, I didn't like it. Alibaba's taking a hit. Listen, I own Alibaba. It's been an absolute just ugly, ugly, ugly. I've been buying dips. I'm going to go and put it at 109 this time. I was going to go below 110. But I'm like, I would say 109.98 seems about right. That'll give me a nice another dip opportunity. I'll take it if it breaks there. But it broke my alert of 130 yesterday, and I said to myself, you know what? I'll hold it for a little bit more if it gets a little more downside. I think BABA is an excellent company. They're getting hit. The value there. I mean, we take a look at BABA PE ratio. See if I can bring that up here. Just the valuation itself. The PE ratio is at 18. Keep in mind that the market is trading at a 27, 28 multiple. So you're getting a discount from this company on terms of price to earnings, which is crazy. And I think it's worth it. Again, a lot of people don't look at value. They look at price. But price does not dictate the value every time. I mean, there's some companies that are not worth their valuations. I think we can all agree. Levels for SPY. Gotcha. Let's take a look at SPY here. Broke my alert to the downside yesterday, but I'm going to go and place another one at 456.90. That's your downside. And for upside, again, the 200-day moving average, which is around 465.91. I put it at 470, but I'm going to move it down to 466, let's just say. 466.08, which is right above the 200. That's your level you're looking for upside. So that's where we are, guys. We'll go ahead and leave it there. Keep in mind, I will catch you guys afternoon at 5 for our aftermarket recap. That starts today, December 1. Can't wait to talk about the market movement, just like Morning Milk. We're going to do it every day at 5, and you can watch it anytime. So we'll leave it there. Apple, again, 168.25 is the level we want to break for upside. For downside is 165. But I think Apple has been getting a lot of call volume. I think it's going to explode. I think 170 hits this week. So 168.25, I'm a buyer of the Apple calls for the 170s. Thoughts on Coin and Upstart? I own both. Coinbase, I love. Upstart, I like as well. I'm just going to hold it and own it. Morning, do you see Amazon going up from pre-market gains? What's the resistance? Okay, we're going to end this. This is the last one. Amazon needs to get above 36.12. That's your level there. It's pretty much just hovering around that Fibonacci level that I built before. And of course, TD Ameritrade just died. So that's the sign to get off. So I'll leave it there, guys. Have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you guys later on today for the aftermarket recap at 5 p.m. Cheers, guys.